This is Strike a Chord Live Podcast.
Boom. Shakalaka.
Man, that is good. It's getting a little bit, it's getting more perfected, more perfect.
Yeah, man.
Every
Good morning,
session.
brother. How are you?
I'm all right. How's it going?
Man, it's great. Let's talk to our replay folks that are out there, whether it's good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening. We love you and thank you for being with us here on Strike the Chord Live Podcast. Of course, we thank you all for being here live right now. We got a comment from the Santa Rosa County Great Debate. They said, "Good day, one and all. Isn't it a glorious day? Amen." I mean,
it is a glorious day. It is a glorious day.
We'll see you later.
Yeah. So, man, that's got me fired up today. Hey, you just mentioned that, and that reminds me because we don't talk a lot about it because we're on video, and in case someone doesn't want to just look at us, or if they just don't like our faces or whatever, they can go to Apple Podcasts, they can go to Google Podcasts, they can go to Amazon Audible, they can go to Spotify, of course, or they could go directly to our Beacons page. But you could just listen to us, these podcasts. Now you don't get, they're delayed a couple days, or we put them out a couple days after we record them. But if you just want to listen to us or go back and listen to a previous session, you can do that on a podcast channel. And
for those of you who are watching live, which we know the Santa Rosa County Great Debate is watching, the beacons.ai/strikeachord.live.podcast. You can reach all of our channels there. And once again, the Santa Rosa County Great Debate said, "Don't get this bass player preaching."
There we go.
There we go. So, man,
bass players, we don't need bass players preaching. That's just, we can't have that.
No, we do. So, hey, this morning we're going to talk about something that we both know about, and that is your mess is your message. And what is that? I mean, what does that mean to you? I'm just going to put you on the spot. What does that mean to you when you hear your mess is your message?
Wow, we're jumping right into it. We're not even talking about YouTube or anything. We're going straight into the topic. No, I'm just
follow us on YouTube.
I'm just kidding. No, it's interesting because we have in multiple sessions this season, which means 2023, we've already talked about it. And I'm not saying that as a negative. We're doing something repeat, but we had Heather Carter and Bruce Pulver on in the maybe session 3 or 4. Right. And we talked a lot about your message. Then we had Terrence Elmore of the Brown Sugar Cafe a couple weeks ago. And that topic came up, that subject of your message. So, what it means to me is, hey, we've all got a story to tell. Now, some people don't like telling stories. So, you don't have to tell it if you don't want to. But somebody may need to hear that, right? Somebody most likely has gone through the same things that you have gone through, even if you think they haven't.
Yeah, man.
I remember, I think it was Pulver who said, there's always one person, or there's always at least one person, one step behind you and one step ahead of you in your similar situation. So your message to me is about putting the past behind you, or recognizing that, hey, you're not really as different as you think you are. You've experienced something, and that maybe you can help others by sharing your message.
I love how you mentioned folks and then they just show up, because Terrence Elmore just showed up. Our dear brother from the Brown Sugar Cafe said, "Good morning, fellas." Good morning, Terrence. We love you, bro. Good morning, Peggy Gossman. We love you. Nat Banks, love you. He's about to go equip you for greatness at his podcast here shortly. My dear brother, Michael Huey, who I love, man. Michael Huey is such an inspiration to me. I'm going to introduce you to him, Colin. We'll have him on the session soon. And so Summer Star is here, and she was our guest on Wednesday. It's now Friday, and what really sparked me, what spurred me on, spurred or spurned, I don't know. What motivated us to talk about this today is a quote that Summer had in our session with her the other day, and she said, "Your heart is bigger than your pain, and then you share it." I mean, that's like a mic drop moment, right? And that is really what struck a chord with me in our session with her. Your heart is bigger than your pain, and then you share it. Spurred. Thank you, Michael. I had it right at first.
I think it was right first, but I was just going to let you run with it. I thought maybe you had some sort of, you were
Hey,
going to
man.
play on it.
You know what? Authenticity is also your message.
Authenticity is our thing, man.
Yeah, right. So when you when you can be real, and you don't have to be like Mr. Professional, which I'm not. I think you are more than I am. But anyways, I was listening to Rick Warren the other day. The great pastor Rick Warren, the great best-selling author of The Purpose-Driven Life and all that good stuff. And he was talking about pastors and pastors and people. And he was like, of course, pastors are going to talk about God and pain and all that because they're paid to do that. But us as not to demean us, but as laypersons, as people that are walking around in the world, our message of struggle, strife, pain, all that stuff that we go through we're really designed to share that with each other, to let each other know that we're not alone, and that everybody goes through these things, and really to inspire somebody to get out of the hole they're in if they're in at that point. And that's why I'm so I'm an open book. I tell everybody about my struggles. I've had, I've struggled with addiction. I've struggled with loss. I've struggled with relationship issues, that whole thing. And so that's why it's out there. So really calling your message, because there's nobody perfect, right? There's nobody perfect on the planet. We all go through things. So why not put it out there in public? And I know it's not easy for everybody. I mean, you could tell that I'm such an introvert. It's not easy for people to put it out there, but go ahead. I see you're about to say something.
Well, I think that I was laughing because we're both introverts, definitely. And it's not easy to put it out there. There's shame involved with it. There's other things, but Brene Brown said, and I'm putting this up here right now. Well, I'm going to take down this banner because I think it kind of takes. I think I'm going to take away from that. But Brene Brown says, our wounds and our strengths are intimately connected, like two sides of a coin. When we embrace our wounds, we find our strengths. So that's the essence, I think, of what we're talking about too. Your message, your wounds, your past, your experiences, all the things you've gone through, they're actually can be your strengths. They've built you into what you are. They've made you who you are and what you are today.
Man, I love that quote, and I love what you just said. Okay, now I have to correct something. I didn't realize Peggy Gossman said that your heart is bigger than your pain, and then you share it. I thought she was quoting Summer and put it in the comments. So let's give, lifetime, long time, since day one listener and contributor Peggy Gossman the credit that your heart is bigger than your pain, and then you share it, which I love that. But then that was also what Summer was saying in the session she was with us. So yeah, man. So let's talk about, some of those things, so let's define our mess. All right. How about that?
Yeah. Define. Well,
so,
yeah,
go ahead. Well, I mean, it's obviously our struggles, our failures, relationship loss, all of those things we've talked about already, but defining it first and acknowledging it. You're not going to be able to move forward and share that if you don't acknowledge that you have a mess going on in your life, right?
Yeah, and it's not just that. And your mess can be anything, right? We also talked about with Summer the other day, I believe it was with Summer, that you don't see what people are going through in a lot of cases, right? So you don't even know what people are hiding or what's going on in their life on that day or that week or that year, right?
Yeah, I mean,
their personal struggles, whether it be financial, there could be stuff going on with their children. There could be stuff going on in their marriage, right? With their parents, conflict with their friends, job loss. There are so many things that can contribute to a mess. That's why I contend that we're pretty much all a mess. I mean, I've seen a few people who are, seem really perfect to me. And those people make me mad. That person's perfect. They don't have anything wrong with them, but they probably have their own mess too, right?
Yeah, that's not true. Yeah, that's not, I mean, there's many of those people that hide those things. Michael Huey says our mess is the things that hold us back from God's perfect will for our lives. I mean, that's strong. This hit me, right? What you said, this just struck a chord with me. You never really know the true impact you have on those around you, right, Colin? You never know how much someone needed that smile you gave them, or that hug, or that I love you, or open the door for them, whatever. You never know how much your kindness turns someone's entire life around, much less their day. Being kind to somebody, yes, it can elevate their day, but then that can snowball and turn into a week, a month. Wow, that person did that for me. You know what I mean? You never know how much someone needed that long hug, or that really deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. You do it first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind, because you never know how much someone needs it.
Yeah, well, you should be kind anyway, right? There's
Yep.
no doubt about it. You should be nice to people. It's what I try to tell my children. It's what I try to tell myself, to be fair.
Yep.
To be fair. But again, the the the, the mess, everybody's got a mess. Everybody's got a mess. And it's important, like you said, you said earlier, and we're just going there, it's important to accept our messes, right?
Embrace it, right?
You can embrace it as I think that's what Brene said. We've actually got a quote. I think we've got.
Do you have one from Unknown?
I think so, and that might be, yes. See what you just said.
Favorite
Your
quote.
your mess is your message to the world. Embrace it. So Unknown has said that. Marcus Ellis has said that. I agree with it. So let's talk more about it. Your mess is your message to the world. Embrace it.
So we always like to have takeaways, something that the fine folks that listen and watch the session can take with them throughout their day. So how do we find the message within your mess, right? Man, how do we find that? How do we dive down into that to really determine what the message is over what we're going through? Let's deal with for addiction. I've dealt with addiction. I've lived the rock and roll lifestyle. I've gone through it. I've come out the other side. Hallelujah. How do we turn that into a message that isn't overbearing, that isn't, for lack of a better term, preachy, that isn't going to drive somebody the other direction? How do we do that to where we can just, on Colin and Mark's level, talk to somebody and be able to convey that message to them?
Well, I can tell you this. So, learning that your mess can really impact someone else. Understanding that your mess can impact someone else should be easy, because you've probably watched somebody else, or listened to somebody else, or read somebody else, and it's impacted your life. And if they can impact your life, then you can impact another life. And it is never easier in the history of the world than today, March 24th, 2023, to do so. Right?
Yep.
Not only that, the formalities are gone. If you're rough around, the edges,
I like where you're going.
If you are not the best writer, if you're not the best talker, if you're not the best, fill in the blank. Okay. Guess what? You've still got your phone. You can still record a message. You can still go live. You can still write a post, 2 sentences, and post it somewhere. Sometimes the most impactful things to me are an Instagram quote that's 2 sentences. That's 1 sentence, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar. You don't have to be a Barack Obama type speaker, orator, right? You can just go with what you have and start sharing.
Man, Michael Huey gave you amen, Colin, on that. And Summer really put it in 1 sentence. She said, be honest, be raw, be real. And I think that's what you and I are. Sometimes it gets me in trouble because I'm just straight to the point and and blunt's not the proper term, but that's what I am. I was in a clubhouse room with preacher that actually with Michael Huey, and I said something. And he's like, man, I don't mean this to be negative, but that was crass. He was like, you just came out and said it, right? And sometimes we have to be careful about that. So when we are talking to somebody, we don't know if somebody's going through it. We're just talking and sharing things. But all of a sudden, when that bubbles to the surface with that person, I think it's very important to shut up and listen.
Yeah, listening is so important, right? But I wanted to go back when you were talking about crass and being crass. We used to talk about him. We haven't talked about him in a while. Gary Vaynerchuk. Some people, my parents would say he's crass. He's crass. He uses some language sometimes, right? But he's got millions of followers, quote unquote, through different, social media networks. So whatever his message is, people are going to listen to, right?
Right.
But he is himself. He's always been himself. He hasn't changed over time. His look has changed a little bit. He's lost a little bit more hair. He may be a little bit hipper now than he was 15 years ago. My point is to what you're talking about is just be yourself, be authentic, be who you are. Because again, crass or not, stumbling through your words or not, you can still impact someone.
Yeah, well, I think that's important. And, we've talked about stories. We like to put stories out there, because that's where people resonate the most. And sharing your story is really the easiest way to get your messy message across, right? And it's just talking about the things you went through. It's talking about the mistakes you made and how you overcame those, because once again, we're not perfect. But discussing how your story can inspire someone to find their own message in their own mess, and like you brought up a really good point. We don't know what people are going through. There's people walking on the street that may look totally fine, that, like you said, may look perfect, like they have the perfect life, and next thing you know, they're gone because they didn't have that, right? So I think it's really important for us to reach out to people even when you don't feel like it. Michael Huey a little bit ago commented, let the Holy Spirit speak through you. It's taken me 50 years to get to that point, to go, oh, that's not my mind. I'm being guided by the Holy Spirit. Go talk to that person. And my kids are like, no, Dad, no, don't go talk to that person. We got to be somewhere. You're going to talk to somebody, and then y'all are going to be crying, and then you're going to be hugging, and you're going to tell them you love them, and then we're going to be late for whatever it is. Don't do that. I'm telling you, do that thing. Like, if you feel compelled, if you feel urged, moved to go talk to that person, just go up and ask them, how are you doing today? If you're so bold like me, ask them, has anybody told you that they loved you yet today? Right? You have no idea the doors that opens just by talking. A lot of times you go up to somebody, how you do? Well, my life sucks and I'm not doing well. And well, let's talk about it. What's going on? And then really at the end of that conversation, a lot of times people go, you know what? I really appreciate you talking to me, because things aren't so bad. Things aren't as bad as I feel like they are. So, we were put on this planet to support each other. We were put on this planet to lift each other up, So, I mean, let's challenge everybody today. One of the takeaways is to go out and talk to somebody and then share your story, and whether it be like of loss or addiction or, financial issues, problems in your life. Man, that really resonates with other people, and other people go, man, I really don't have it so bad. Thank you for talking to me today.
Yeah. And I think this is the final quote that I have. And I think that this one applies. Whoa, look at that mouse there. This is what Timothy Mouse from Dumbo looked like before he shared his message. Okay. And what Timothy Mouse said is, the very things that held you down are going to lift you up. And that's what you're talking about, Mark, right?
Yeah.
Experience and telling. And so Timothy Mouse went from this to this beautiful, little, loving, huggable creature when he started sharing his story.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. If he's like saying, whoa, not me, or if that mouse is like, if for those of
He's
you
like,
who are,
wow, I've got a story to
yeah,
tell. You're not going to believe what I've been doing, how I've been peddling some cheese on the side that I stole from the store, and all this kind of stuff.
yeah, for those of you who are just listening, there was a crazy picture of a crazy mouse that looked like he just jumped out of the water and then got electrocuted. But I digress. Yeah,
So
I love.
really that too is more of a transition into embracing your message. And I know we've already been talking about some of that. And one of the challenges, one of the takeaways is share your message today. Oh, by the way, how do you share your message? I don't know. Facebook post,
Yeah,
Instagram post, tweet, LinkedIn message, fill in the blank, your
I got a
text.
challenge for him. Go live on one of those platforms. Go live on Facebook or go live on Instagram and just start talking and just say, hey, I'm talking to you. I see you. You matter. You are loved. Listen to what I have to say about my life. And then somebody's going to resonate with that, right, Colin?
Yeah, and there is another cool social media app that I found, or I guess it's kind of like a podcast app that I found last night called Swell,
Oh, wow.
Swell. I literally found that last night, and then I was like working on it, and it was like 12:30 at night. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get up in like 5 hours, so better go to sleep. It's called Swell, and it's like little mini podcasts. So up to 5 minutes, and I haven't listened to any yet. I was just kind of setting up my page. So I'm actually going to explore that platform this weekend and see if there might be something there for Harbor Time, and maybe even eventually Strike a Chord Live. It's little 5-minute messages, up to 5-minute messages, and people can respond. So it's got the social media aspect, but it's little messages, right? Little talks, if you will.
Yeah, well, that's what I love about what you and I do. We spend 30 minutes 2 times a week. And, our goal is to inspire people, help people, motivate people, have some fun. Hey, let me tell you on the nostalgic side, March 24th, 91 and March 24th, 93. I saw two of my favorite Grateful Dead shows. Not March 24th, 91. I was at the Knickerbocker Arena, which is not Knickerbocker anymore. I think it's the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. Oh, such a great show. I drove my little Volkswagen bus 22 hours straight to get up there. And then March 24th, 93, I was at the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Man, one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever been on. Isn't it crazy that we're in March Madness and UNC's not in any of it?
Yeah.
But man, I saw a really, really good Grateful Dead show. And a lot of you people who think Grateful Dead's a heavy metal band, no, it's not. It's a very jazzy, hippie, flowy, peace, love type of thing, which is where I get all this. But I had to throw that nostalgic portion in because I knew 324 has always been like a great day for me. So a lot of great things are going to happen for me and you today because it's 324.
I like it. And those who are listening here, if they go follow our YouTube page, if they go subscribe to us on the YouTube page, good things are going to happen to them. No, just kidding. Good things are going to happen to you anyway. So when you embrace your message, when you embrace the fact that your mess is your message, a lot of things can happen. But I love one of the things when we did a little bit of research was that it helps you feel more authentic when you're communicating things, right? And
yeah, man.
Connected not only to others, but to ourselves. When you're embracing it, when you're embracing the fact that your mess is your message and you're communicating, people can tell when you're real or not, right? People can tell if you're being genuine or making something up or just kind of stage things.
Yeah, man. So, we want to encourage you guys to let's take this Friday to reflect on your mess. Whatever, to reflect on your issues, your problems, not to dwell in them, not to get bogged down in the mire of your issues or problems, but to reflect on them and how you can use that as fuel to turn things around. And I'm not saying your life's bad. I'm not saying your life's horrible. I'm saying we all go through those types of things. So let's reflect on your own mess today and consider how you can use that to help somebody else today. Because here's the thing, Colin, when our focus is off of ourselves and our focus is on somebody else, man, that's when things begin to change. That's when my life began to change, when I'm like, okay, I'm going to start lifting other people up. And man, all of a sudden, people are like, thank you for doing that. They're crying on my shoulder, all these things. then you feel good. And not to inflate your ego. You got to be careful. That ego will pop in there, right? I'm a lead singer. How many lead singers does it take to screw in a light bulb? One to hold the light bulb and the rest of the world to revolve around him. That's not me. I'm not doing that today. I'm checking my ego at the door and I'm going out in an action of service. And like Bruce Pulver says, I act on. So we want to encourage you today to reflect on your issues and then use that as fuel to go out and serve somebody else today.
Yeah, no doubt. And to give you a couple of real life examples of people whose mess became their message, found a bunch of them, right? Doing a little research, you can find all kinds of people whose mess is your message. And generally you'd know about it because they're sharing that as part of their message, right? They're not hiding it. They're using it to help others, maybe to build themselves a little bit too. But a couple of really, there's several really recognizable names, but Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker and life coach, who's helped millions of people transform their lives. But before he was success, he was in poverty. He struggled with abuse and addiction. So there were so many things that he had to pull out of. Oprah Winfrey. I still always laugh that Oprah Winfrey was, fired from her first job because she wasn't, they deemed that she was not fit for TV.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, not fit for TV. So think about that when you talk about overcoming, I don't know if it's stereotypes, it was probably some of that, or whatever the case may be. Oprah Winfrey wasn't fit for TV, but I guarantee you every one of us has watched her on TV. Or on some sort of device. But Oprah Winfrey, she had many challenges early in life. She was born in poverty, suffered abuse as a child, and faced, discrimination, as we know, in her career. And she used those experiences to connect with others. Now, I'm not telling you right now that if you use your experiences to connect with others, that you're going to be the next Oprah Winfrey. You may be, right? But that's not really the goal, right? It's not the goal. It's to connect with others, to help them better themselves, actually for you to better yourself too.
That's the best takeaway of the day. We're not doing these things. We're not doing these things for self-gratification, for self-glorification, right? We're not going out to do these things to become famous or any of that stuff. You're doing it to make the world a better place. So that's really a great point, Colin, that you bring up, that, don't do these things to get something back. It ain't going to happen, baby. Do these things to help others and then watch what that does for you in your life. You got any more examples before we go?
Well, there's a couple, and I was looking at them. Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato is one of my wife's favorite performers.
She's a mental, as well as being a singer and actress, mental health advocate. But she struggles with, and then that's the thing too. It's not just your past, right? She struggles with addiction, eating disorders, and bipolar disorder, right?
Yeah, she started on Disney, and came through that. And then, she's very vocal. I think she's overdosed a couple of times, unfortunately, come out the other side. And what were you going to say?
Well, just that she used that platform to raise awareness about mental health issues. So think about it. And again, it's not just that, hey, I'm going to put this stuff in the past and now I'm going to go tell my story. More than likely, it's going to be a continuous struggle. You're going to continue to struggle with a lot of these things, but that becomes your message, right? That mess becomes your message. There's a couple of others on here, but Brene Brown. I don't know if I said Brene Brown. I know we had a quote from her earlier, but she's, everybody knows she's a big vulnerability person, right? But she struggled with shame and inadequacy, which is really how she started to develop some of the things she developed and studied to overcome it, was because of her shame, because of her inadequacies.
Well, let's put that out there as we're closing. There is no shame, right? There's no shame here. There's no shame there. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Even like the greatest sin that you ever committed, man, just ask for forgiveness, ask God for forgiveness. And the shame is wiped clean, man. So anybody that, we've all done things, Colin, in our past that we're not proud of, that we're not happy about. So let go of the shame immediately. Ask for forgiveness wherever that is, whether that be the person that you wronged, or ask forgiveness to our maker, and then let the shame go. So that's a really good point. And man, this has been phenomenal. I want to keep going, but man, we're at the end of the top of the hour.
Yeah, this has been fun too. I mean, we've got a lot of comments out there. I know we've had some people popping in and out. We have a few people watching on YouTube, which is great, as well as Facebook. And again, if you're catching this on the replay, thank you for listening to the replay, or even listening to the podcast on one of the podcast channels. But guys, your mess is your message. Our mess is our message, right? No doubt. It's important to embrace your mess, whether you want to go share it or not. That's okay. And whether you want to go share it vocally, like verbally, like Mark and I do through this and through other channels. Maybe your mess is your message, and your message is changing the way you live and others look at it. And you don't have to. I know we've challenged you to go out and do a live stream and to do other things. We do encourage that. But you don't have to, right? I can't make you. And maybe you're not comfortable doing that. And finally, think about your mess. Think about things that you think are normal that might actually be a mess, right? That might actually be part of your mess. Consider how you can use them not only as growth and inspiration for yourself, but growth and inspiration for others.
Man, that's your mic drop moment right there. That was great. Great closing. Well, man, I've loved this session. This is great. Reach out to us in Messenger. Reach out to us wherever you can find us. We would like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. We need about 700 more followers to get to the next level, which I don't know what that means, but we're reaching for the next level. So if you would go to youtube.com/@strikeaccord-podcast. We would appreciate the follow, and all of you that are following us and watching us on YouTube, we thank you so much. Those of you who are listening to the replay, we thank you so much, wherever that be, whether it's Spotify or Apple or wherever that is. We thank you so much. And just go out there and be great today, because you are. Okay. Anything else? That's good.
Right there. No, that's good. That's good.
Right.
I already gave my closing piece.
Hey, we love you guys. We will see you here back on Wednesday with another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live Podcast with Colin Harbour and myself, Marcus Ellis. Peace and chicken grease. We're out. We love you.